guys? Panzer King here in the Lion's Den, bringing you part 2 of Enigma. And this is going to be just a little bit different. We're going to just cover the Germans a little bit more again, as we did in part 1. But we're also going to go over the paint colors of what we used for these German units. And just so you know, I use a black paint. Like, it's nothing special. It's a black gloss, I believe, Rust-Oleum from Home Depot. Like, there's nothing too unique about it, but a lot of people might actually want to use grays, and I think even people like the chaplain, I think he used a gray primer from Rust-Oleum or that you can get at Home Depot. So just definitely keep that in mind if you want to do gray. I like personally having the Germans black. It's bold, it's powerful, and of course the colors look so nice up against the black itself. So, but anyways, we'll just dive right in here, and we'll just recap on a few things, and we'll see if we can have fun and do this. So I'm just going to zoom in here and go over a few units that we missed last turn. Sorry about that. This is the new sculpt from Historical Board Gaming. I painted this up. I really wanted to get this one and show you this one. Once again, simple, basic engine on the roof of the planes. And this is a German seaplane. Forgive the name. Like I said, there's so many units and so many names. I thought I used to know them all, but obviously I don't. But it looks really cool, and I really do like the sculpt. You know, I like the bulk carousers on there. It works very good, right? And definitely happy with that new seaplane. Don't know how many I'll build, but you know, nonetheless, there we are. And like I say, we covered a lot of these other planes, but what we're going to do here is go over the jets. Now, as I kind of left off with bronze being pretty much the highest classification unit you can do, this is the Horten 229, and I really love this. It's so futuristic, right? It was the plane that never was. You know, there was 1 or 2 prototypes built at the end of the Second World War, and then, of course, the Allies found it, and that was the history of it, right? But very cool, and it was kind of a tactical bomber, more so than a fighter. I use this as a fighter sculpt just because it looks really cool. But yeah, this particular guy is that bronze color. That bronze, and I've also painted a bronze bead at the bottom to represent jets. But in the future, West versus East or future expansions, I still wanted to carry on that theme for heavy bombers, especially if Germany wins the war and goes into the next stage. Maybe they might have tactical bombers, like this Horten H-18, I think it is. This is from the America game, just a simple basic sculpt, but of course I painted it silver. Gave the silver bead down there at the bottom too, just to make everything flow. And that's one of the sculpts. This sculpt, I believe, Shapeways or Historical Board Gaming. I thought maybe it was Historical Board Gaming, and it could have been part of one of the expansions. It's the same thing, just it's a little bit different. I don't really care which ones I would use, but definitely you could use them even as a different sculpt just to represent a jet, right? You know, you got jet aircraft, you know, just to make your board more livelier. Here is our gold category, and these are, I think, from the American expansion. It could even be a Global War expansion, but really cool. They painted up gold like they're jet bombers, you know, long-range jet bombers. Some of them were in development, and of course they didn't do much towards the end of the war, but I also still wanted to represent them. And of course, they got the gold beads down here, right? So yeah, like I say, you can have a lot of fun with your airplanes, especially with Germany, because they had so much technology. I mean, the Italian jet program wasn't the greatest, right? Russians and Americans, a different story, and same with the British. Down here too, I'm actually kind of making a series of these flags. This is obviously one for Germany with the swastika flag, but I painted gold on top of here, kind of give that flagpole look. And I've magnetized down here these rondels. This is actually a French rondel, but since it was red all the way around, it was actually perfect for it. And it just, you know, rather than using the swastika rondel. And down here, I drew a little magnet here and then put one of these on here. So when you actually put it down on my board, it's magnetic and it will stick and it won't flip over as easy it is now with not being on a magnetic base, right? So, and of course, I just put the paint on there, so that's why it's a bit sticky as well. But yeah, simple, easy, and it has a great look. And that's where I kind of want to have more of these for all the nations. For the French, I got some on the French board now. I'm working on some Russians currently, etc., etc. But like I say, there's a lot of work involved, right? So now, as far as other units yesterday we missed, I forgot with the artillery and heavy artillery, I forgot to actually show you the tank destroyers, the German tank destroyers. And there you can see that one right there, that guy, and it's got purple, right? That's where I've added purple because, you know, as they go up in firepower, and then when you get into the infantry units that defend quite well and move further, then you get more and more powerful, right? And I went over the King Tiger, I do believe, right? But also there's more to that because you can even have fun with other tanks. You know, if you're building, you know, these specialty tanks, you can even build a Rat. Now, obviously, you know, in comparison to this, to let's say a Panzer I, I mean, the size is, well, it's ridiculous, right? You know, it's crazy. You could actually have a Panzer I just sitting on the back of the Tiger, right? So, but yeah, no, I mean, these guys are cool. They're just cool sculpts, right? And maybe you can use them down later on in an expansion, of course, right? So that's pretty much all I wanted to touch on that part and just give a brief overview. But also I wanted to show you kind of a specialty class, because if we design and build strategic rockets, then that's what the black bead can be for. And these are part of that expansion that Doug had, these 3D printed rockets. So I might use these for my strategic rockets and put them on the board. You know, they're just kind of cool, you know. Gave it a black paint scheme on silver, and, you know, of course, put the swastika on there to represent the German technology, right? And they're all different sizes, you know. Of course, they can be quite wobbly on the board too by doing this, but I'm not suggesting it done. It can also have a very short base as well, and that's probably what I would do. But it's kind of nice how they look like they're flying, you know, rocketing up. So yeah, very cool. Like I say, I'm really happy with that. And these are just the other sculpts I haven't got around to painting, but like they're the ones that actually have their own bases too, right, to represent strategic rockets. So yeah, Germany had lots of lofty plans afoot. But basically, that kind of completes what I wanted to show you here, and just go over all of the remaining things for Germany. Right, so that's great, but we're going to get into what we're actually started to talk about, and that's paints, right? So there really is no good start. You know, we can start from the lowest to the highest, to the highest to the lowest, but we'll dive in here with X2. X2 is white, and I get this. These are the Tamiya paints. I get them at my local store, and these are all the same. They're good paints, you know. They dry fast, like especially, you know, if you put them down, like, you know, 15-20 minutes, they can be dry to the touch, right? So, but yeah, you know, I pay $3 or $4 Canadian for them, right? But like, this is a good use, or a good paint to use if you're going to, you know, be doing all of these units. And then we'll do X1 as well. That's the black, right? So this would be it's a gloss black. That's the difference, because they do make a flat black, and sometimes I forgot that. And don't get confused with the flat colors. I think you want gloss, because gloss just looks so much better than flat, unless you really want a flat look for your troops. I mean, I have a glossy look to my stuff. General Hand Grenade has more of a flat look, and I think he's going towards that. I still like the gloss, but definitely keep that in mind. And the F represents the flat, obviously the XF-1. So, but that's one of the ones I use. And like I say, it's kind of over on the other end of the spectrum. And pink for some specialty units, like pink. Obviously there's no planes with pink yet, but there could be, you know. But right here we have pink for these specialty units by Germany, right? And Kafushas, actually, for the Russians, I painted them pink too, right? So they can be used as one, and that's X17, right? So that's a good color to have and to use, and for whatever, right? Because, you know, you're not going to see a lot of pink all the time. X9, this is brown, good gloss brown. Use it for your destroyers. You know, I haven't used it on any land units yet, but I might. Or I haven't even used it on any planes, but also it could be used for biplanes too. I was thinking of using that, or even a gray. And we'll just go into gray too. I use the XF Sky Gray. Now this is a flat gray. I haven't found a glossy gray that, and I'll have to start looking at the paint store again. I'm just fine with the flat gray, but if I can, I'll probably end up going to a gray that I like, but all of them are this color now anyways. And flat is, you know, old. It represents an old style. So, you know, I'm fine with that. And that's probably one of the few flat colors that I actually use, right? So, and then we'll move on to like our fighter and artillery class, which is Park Green. Very common color I use, and it's X28. And like I say, it's really, it's got a good pop, and it's not too offensive. It's not too limey green, right? And I have done a few limey green colors. And then we have yellow right here, which is X8, and that's a lemon yellow. And that's the yellow I use for my motorized, and of course used for my fighters and even the battleship class. So purple is actually one of my favorite colors to paint with, X16, because it goes on, and usually one coat, you're done, you know. Sometimes with white and other ones, you have to do multiple coats. But yeah, like I say, that's pretty easy going, right? And then blue, sky blue, X14. This is a good one, or a good color too. Looks really good for the seaplanes, as I just showed you, and of course the motorized or the self-propelled artillery, cruisers as well. Orange. So carrying on, orange would be for mechanized battleships or medium bombers, right? So that's X6 orange. It's a good color. I like using it as well. Like I said, I don't really have too many issues with a lot of these colors out here. They're all pretty awesome. Red's a favorite one I also like to use. It's very powerful, but very bold. Looks great on the strategic bombers and the advanced artillery, and that's an X7. And then we come into the Olympic medals, colors. Now, there are different ones for bronze, and I use X34 metallic brown. No particular reason. I think there is an actual copper one that I bought, and there might even be a bronze one, but to me this is just more bronzy or coppery, and I just like that look, as opposed to some of the bronzes may look a little bit different, lighter or faded. So that's obviously for light carriers, jet fighters, so on and so forth. Gold leaf, X12. That's the gold, obviously, for these heavy carriers, bombers, tanks, like basically all the heavy hitters in the game, and factory as well. Major factory. And then last but not least, chrome, X11, chrome silver. It's a good one. Sometimes you have to use a few coats on that one too, just because that's the way chrome is. You know, it's kind of a thinner paint, or silver, I should say. And of course, once again, I use that on the medium factories, the regular tanks, you know, the medium tanks, put them on the barrel. And of course, future tactical jet bombers as well, right? But that basically covers the color paint spectrum and scheme, right? So, like I say, if this is something that you want to get started on, go for it. You know, just jump right in, and you can get these. There are other paints out there that I haven't used. I just use these because they had such a huge selection, and they've worked for me, and I think they'll work for you. And like I say, if you want some of the flat components, if you like a flatter look, go and look for the XF dash numbers and you might find it. But I think there's a better selection from like X1 to X20. Most of the colors are in there. So yeah. Anyways, guys, that's all I really have to go over this this segment. But you guys stay classy, and hopefully you're watching Operation Winter Solace. And I think it'll be Japan's turn next. So if you guys are watching that this winter, go over there and check it out. Panzer King in the Lines Lair, signing off.